All right. We are up and running. Very nice. Let me check out everything, make sure everything's good. Yes, looking good. So today is going to be an interesting sort of day. We're going to finish out some of what we started last time, although I have done a little bit of work in between the different streams. So last stream was last Sunday, of course, and this is kind of a bonus for the week. So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. So I started on the expenses related code, and we're going to be talking about that. So last time I showed off a lot of the game design document, and this time we're going to still be looking through some of that as we continue to kind of build things out. And by we, I of course mean me. Okay, so let me switch into this different view here. I want to talk about the Elega Corp website really quickly. So here at elegacorp.com, of course, I just want to remind everyone that you can find all of the latest stuff going on here. So as the game develops, eventually at some point there's going to be a lot more information about the game that ends up here, I hope. To the right there you can see the live stream schedule, and of course there is this one scheduled for today going on right now, and then to the left there are recent blog posts, and I really want to recommend that everyone check this one out. I really enjoyed writing this one. It's called Why I Got Rid of My Game Consoles When I Became a Game Developer. And it's all about how at some point back in the year 2015, I took my collection and I just sold it all because I had to start on something new. And it's a little bit about the idea that sometimes in your life, in order to make room for new things, you have to go and get rid of old things to get ready for that. And then, of course, as you can see, there's a rotation going on with a banner here for the Elega Corp merchandise over at Teespring, and that is great stuff, by the way. Stay tuned, because if you're interested in supporting what we're doing with the live stream and the development on Kalling Kingdom, and just what we do in general, if you're interested in representing this idea, then I'm going to have a little treat for you later. But first, let's go over to the game design document. And here, we had gone through some of this last time. Now, the way that we were looking at this last time was in like a text editor, and what you didn't get to see are these really nice tables that are here kind of showing some stats about the different business types in the game, the income per turn, the total amount possible as far as the amount of income that can be made, and this thing on the far right called the default buyout price, which is really important, because basically the idea is that you're trying to entice people to come into your town. But one of the ways that you can bring multiple people at once, potentially, is by buying an entire business. And so the default buyout price kind of reflects that. And then, of course, when you would buy, if you buy a business, the idea in this sort of proposed feature is that all the people that work there would come with it. They would relocate to the town of Tren. And the town of Tren is the town that you manage. And down here, there is the business type, and then as additional workers are added, there's only so many workers that can go into an individual business, but as additional workers are added, there's a multiplier that applies to the income. And you notice that the multiplier is a decimal, and one of the sort of caveats around that is that it's going to round off to an integer number. So some of these benefits, as far as adding additional workers, you will not see right away, which means that you'll have to kind of balance and think through how many workers should I add in a short span of time, and how will that even work. Today, one of the big things I'm going to be working on is expenses. And of course, I've set some of this up while you were gone. So let me drop out of Firefox here for a second. And here on the right, I have the Unity editor, and I have the code on the left. Very, very nice. And you may also notice a difference from last time, which is here in the Unity editor, there's this blue color. It's kind of a sky blue, and that's because I was just barely beginning to tinker around with coming up with a UI. And in fact, I have a little placeholder graphic down here. And this is for a, oh, wow, goodness. I'm not sure. Oh, nope, you can't see that. Hang on. Let me bring this into the scene. So this is just like a little placeholder graphic for a house. And it looks kind of like a Monopoly game piece, except just like a wooden color, kind of a, this brown color. I'm probably going to change this, but each of the businesses will probably be represented in some kind of graphic like this. We're not doing anything with this yet today, but I just wanted to kind of show that I've just barely begun kind of tinkering around with some of that. But before a UI even happens, the focus is what is in the simulation. And so that's where the key sort of focus has to be for today. So one of the differences since last time is when the turn advances, there is income advanced from the businesses, and then there is expenses deducted from that. And when we're talking about business income, it really means we're talking about tax revenue, and that's one of the things that was established. So what happens in apply expenses? Well, if I scroll down here, one of the things that occurs somewhere down here, where did it go? I scrolled right past it, didn't I? Apply expenses. Apply expenses. Apply. Oh, it's up above. Okay. So in apply expenses, it basically just iterates through expenses and deducts them from your cash amount. Let me go back to Firefox for just a second, because I want to point out that if I'm following the game design document, and of course I do want to be following the game design document, one of the things here in the game design document is military is 80, infrastructure is 30, water is 5, waste is 3, administration is 2. Okay, fine. These numbers are all subject to change, of course, but for right now, that is what I'm going to build out. And so if I go into expense attributes in the code, and let me switch back to that, there are lots of things going on here. Basically the list of the types, and then of course the values here stored in a dictionary. And so it references these in memory to directly know what expenses are being deducted. And really, there's not much of a reason to keep the names here other than for informational sort of purposes as I'm developing this and working through these. But this could all be a lot nicer. I have to say, it could all be a lot nicer. But it's all kind of working. So if I go into Unity and just hit play in the editor, hopefully the music is not too loud. I might need to adjust it. Let me just turn that down just a tiny bit. Probably a lot louder to me than it is to you. So I still have the hotkey where I can add people. And I still have the in key where I can advance to the next turn. Now a big difference from last time is the cash is going down now. Okay? It's going down, going down, going down, because there's not enough income coming in to offset those expenses. Maybe you feel like you're managing your personal finances now. because the cash is just going down. Oh, goodness. Sad but true for a lot of folks. Okay, so let me go back to Game Manager here. So obviously, some of this needs to kind of be fixed if I want to continue tinkering around with aspects of the simulation here, and that's a little bit of what I'm going to focus on. I will let you know that for this particular stream, I'm probably not going to be talking as much because some of this is going to take intense brain power and concentration and focus. I'll have to have some periods of silence as I work through some of these things. But you get the general idea. So one of the things I'm going to do first is we're not automatically going to bring over a business when a person gets added, and that's one of the big things that has to happen, because one of the things I was discussing last time is that there's right now, when a new person is created, a new business is also created, but that has to be done away with, because we might have multiple people working at an individual business, and the businesses have this interesting sort of mechanic all their own. So I'm going to get rid of that. Owned businesses, we're going to take this out, and we're basically going to start off not having this anymore. So I'm going to save that, and I'm also going to temporarily disable the application of expenses, and I just want to see how this will affect income as I advance people in turns. So if I keep everything the same with 3 people, and I say next turn, next turn, next turn, next turn, it's like the same amount. If I add a bunch of people, it's probably going to be the same amount now. Yeah, not really changing. Very, very, very low advancement there. And that's what I would expect, so that's good. So okay. Add person to city. Business to add. So I don't need that anymore. Basically going to decouple the mechanic of the business from the person. And that's really how it should be, because practically speaking, at this point, if we're always just adding a business as we add a person, we might as well just not have the business. Because if that were the case, then it would really just be like we're just talking about people at that point. And maybe that would be better for minimum viable product, which is putting together the smallest individual components you can while still getting something that's coherent and that works and that plays. But I want the businesses in there. I just got to have it. So let me see where this is referenced. So that's for businesses out of the gate, which I think I'm okay with. Add business. Yeah, so that just initializes a few. I think it would be kind of nice just to start with a few farms, because your town could just start off by growing food. Food and water is all we care about at the beginning. That makes a lot of sense to me. So I think I'll do that. Test, create, randomize business. And this was really for testing purposes when I wrote this function. Randomized income. So I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to leave the income alone, because I'm just going to leave it flat out unmodified at first. Randomize this integer. So I'm going to take these out. There we go. Move the microphone just a little closer to me. I feel like it was just a little bit far away. Income per turn, randomize it. Yeah, so I'm not gonna manipulate that at all. And when I go and I look at the business, we default as a farm. So I can just know if I initialize that without anything, it is a farm out of the gate. But I think I want to be explicit with it. Yeah, I think I want to be explicit. So I'm going to say, what is that, type? Yeah, type. Well, let me just say business type.farm. Probably not. I probably have to say business.business-type.farm or something. Or no, you know what? I'm going to have to probably set it. I have to set it somehow, I bet. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to say public. I'll have it return a business type in this, and then say set type. Do I want to do a string? Yeah, I think so. string business type. Just for right now, I'm just going to do this type. Say this dot type is equal to business type dot farm. You know what? I might as well just get rid of the enums, really. I don't need them. I mean, this is not using mono behavior, so I'm just going to get rid of those, actually. Although I am going to keep a little bit of the list there, so let me take this out, and then this is going to be string type. I'm going to just change this flat out to farm with double quotes, because I always forget about the quotes with these programming languages. Okay, so I guess what I'm going to do from now is I'm just going to comment this out just for right now. I guess it would be kind of nice to only enforce certain types, but I'll let that be super loose and dynamic with that primitive for right now. Just want to say farm. Okay. And I'm going to change this name. I don't really like this name. I think I'm going to make this I'll just say create default farm. I think that's better. Replace all. There we go. So now it is literally, you know, very, very explicit from what's going on here. You create a farm in its default state. Okay. So then I guess another important thing here would be the ability to create a new kind of business. I don't know if I want this here inside of the game manager. I mean, I guess. I'll do another one, business. I'll just do kind of a generic one. Create business, string type. So one thing I don't have yet is I don't have the default incomes of the different business types. I'm going to do a terrible thing and just hard code it for right now. So I'm going to say get income, void get income per turn. If this type is equal to farm, then this income per turn is some amount from our game design document. So that was, it's 5 for farms, but I'm looking at the other types. You can't really see that off screen. Farm, restaurant, weapons, hotel, and stable. Restaurant, weapons, hotel, and stable. Yep, and that's how this becomes useful, because we want this to be very nicely placed into here. Take the farm out because I'm doing that one first, and I'm going to uncomment this. Remove those, remove the commas, and create something that's if this dot type is equal to blah, 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 blah. This income per turn is equal to, actually, I'm going to do a bunch of these first. So I'll say kind of worked. Too much space. Okay. And then for all of these, I can say this income per turn. Okay, so this is 5. Let me see what else I have here. 5. Restaurant is 8. Weapons is 16. Yeah, baby. Stable is 3. And hotel is 7. Again, all subject to change. These are really just rough draft numbers we have going on here. I'm going to add some space in between these different statements here, just so it's a little easier to contend with. Okay. I don't know why I have spaces going on here. That drives me nuts. Convert to tabs. Thank you. It's the infamous tabs versus spaces argument, you know. I'm a tab guy. I don't see any other choice. All right. So this is going to get changed to get income per turn. Oh, get income per turn. Hopefully that works. Any errors going on? I really do wish I could get Visual Studio Code working with OBS Studio. It's a really annoying sort of situation here, I have to say. Just really bugs me. In fact, I should probably go into Unity and update that. For right now, just for right now. In fact, I'm gonna do that. Oh yes, edit. Oh wow, that's interesting. The viewing audience cannot see the menus I'm going through right now. That's very bizarre. Preferences. External tools. I want to change this to Sublime Text. So I'm gonna do that. Bear with me, it's just that every time I try to double click on one of these errors down in the editor, it refuses to open up Sublime for me, so I would like to be able to jump straight to there. There we go. All right, Sublime Text should be good now. Let me see if, yep, okay, get income per turn. There we go, okay. All right, cannot implicitly convert type void to int. Well, I'm not asking you to. I'm not returning anything here. Let me look at the first one. A field initializer cannot reference that. Oh, okay. Well, fine. I'll initialize it at 5 and then I'll... Oh, gosh. Yeah. So that means you have to set the type. That's what it's going to make me do. Whatever. That's fine. Let me make sure the errors are gone. Are we good? Are we good? There we go. Okay, those are gone. So to create the business. Okay, so that was a little detour there. Business equals new business with... I want to be able to assign the type at the time I initialize this. public business string type this type equals type business type business get income return business. So to test this out, if I want to add a restaurant input dot get key up key code R for restaurant, right? That's what we're doing for right now. Create business restaurant, and I'll try that out. Hopefully no errors. Oh, of course we had one. Business does not contain a constructor that takes 0 arguments. Well, you're right about that. Let's give it one. In fact, I don't like these brackets just hanging out. There we go. So now, 3 farms at 5 apiece. Why do I get 6? 3 times 5. Oh, it's the tax rate, I think. I think that's what's going on. So if I add... Now I secretly have a restaurant silently, maybe. I'll add a bunch of restaurants. Oh, you know what? That's not going to work. Because all that's doing is just creating the object in memory. Let me add that to the owned businesses. That's what we're going to have to do. And this is returning the restaurant. So I'm going to say business restaurant is equal to create business and then restaurant. Restaurant, add the restaurant. Delicious food going on here. Okay, so you can't tell it's delicious food because all you see is code, but trust me, there's great cooking going on everywhere, all over the place. Okay, R. Next turn. Yep. R. Next. R. It's not a dog barking, it's just restaurants. R. Okay. Okay, looking good. Maybe that should just be the game, is the player just hammers the R key a lot and then watches their money explode. That can just be it. I'm done. We'll ship it. Okay, so... Own businesses .add restaurant. Okay, that's nice. And now I need a way to actually add people into the restaurant. And there has to be like this. This is going to be the tricky part, is setting up this whole system where the people have to be kind of matched up to the businesses. And for right now, I'm going to make this really, really simple, I think. Oh, I probably shouldn't have manipulated the window like that. Oh, I can go out to there, and it still looks okay, I guess. We can get away with that. I'm just hiding the mini-map over in Sublime behind the Unity window. Okay, so cache, people, available people. By the way, max people is here. I'm probably going to take this out. This is not referenced anywhere else. I'm just removing this. We don't need that right now. Okay. People, owned businesses. So right now, the way that people is referenced is it's kind of just, they're out there, they're hanging out. The only time they get assigned to businesses is they're inside of the very beginning initialization at this point. And I'm kind of okay with that. So, how are we going to add them to a business? Very, very important. Okay, well, there's about to be a lot of log statements going on, I think, because without a UI, we're going to have to really think through this very carefully. So down here, new person gets printed out. And we're not really showing anything with that, really. It's just new person, person. So that's not very useful. So I'm going to take that out. Don't need that. But I do care about the attributes of the people. Person. Cash, happiness, max happiness. Oh gosh, we haven't even started manipulating the happiness numbers yet, but that's going to be fun. And they get assigned to a business. So the business, I'm going to initialize this as null. And if it's null, they're unemployed. Basically. I know a way to do this, I think. I think I know a way to do this. I'm going to say public current business null. And down here, business. So right after we create that first business, I'm going to say if current business is null, then we're going to assign the current business as this one. And hopefully you see where this is going. The idea is that I'm going to, here in the game manager, I'm going to have a business and we're going to be able to cycle through it. And I promise that eventually we're going to get rid of all these silly hotkeys, but it just works so well for testing. It's so easy and so fast. Key code, B for business. And then for this, I will say, oh, but that doesn't work. That doesn't work. I needed another way to do this. I don't want to just do that. I want to do owned businesses. So I'm going to change this. We have to have a reference point in a list in order to cycle through these. So I'm going to say owned businesses 0. Just assigns the current business with the first in the list if it doesn't exist already. So then I'll say if current business is not null, then I need to put this down to a function to public business cycle to next business. we're starting this off as it's basically like a command line game, you know, in a way, just from all the different keys on the keyboard. But I promise it's not going to stay that way. It's just that I really want all these essential building blocks to work before I start worrying about a UI. It all needs to kind of make sense so that when I go to build the UI, I can really get intentional about how all of that works and really think it through really well, because, you know, frankly, I haven't really decided how all of that is going to look. And, you know, we're right now over on the right side of the screen, we're not keeping any of this stuff around current turn, cash, and people. I mean, maybe I'll hang on to something like that, but probably not. I mean, okay, so this is going to be cycle to next business. Current business index. So actually, first I need to manipulate that. If current business is not null, and current business index. So the index is basically keeping track of where we are inside of owned businesses. And I'm going to say if current business index is greater than owned businesses dot count, and current business index is going to cycle back to 0. I guess it probably needs to be equal to. Current business index cycles back to 0. And then, of course, current business will be owned businesses at the current business index. And I'm going to print current business. What can I reference here? I'll just say type for now, but I think I need to change that somehow. Current business type. This should be void. I don't need this to return anything. Okay, current business type. So let's see if the cycling works here. It's probably going to be broken. So B, farm, 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 farm. Okay, so it should be like rotating through now, and that looks pretty good. So let me add a restaurant with R. Farm, farm, restaurant. Bam, there we go. Okay. So it should see farm, 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 restaurant, farm, 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 restaurant, farm, 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 restaurant. And so now that I know how to select the business, I'm also going to do a cool little thing where I figure out how to assign people to the business. And how do I want to do that? Well, for right now, I probably just want to take the same sort of method here and do a current person. A person with a business. Same sort of way, public int current person index. Initialize this to 0. Come down here to our initialization method and say what was that? I'm getting emails. Okay. New follower on Twitch. Oh, that's very nice. Nalwins? I'm probably not saying that however you intend, but hey, thanks for the follow. Oh, current person, if current person is null. Current person is people at, oh, and this technically doesn't need to be 0. I don't think it matters though. I'll just keep it. Well, you know, no. Let's in case anything crazy happens, we're going to assign this to a variable. Own businesses current person index. Current person index. People add, so people current person. Oh, current business index. Use your brain, Scott. Current person index. So it initializes to 0, and because it does that, it should be okay. So current person, there we are. Go back up, current person. So I already have a P for person. Well, now the keys are going to begin to not make sense, but I'm fine with that. So input, get key up, key code, I'm just going to use O. Like, oh, another person. Okay. Cycle to next person. Yes, Nullwinds, you can ask me a question. Shoot. Sorry, I'm not being very good about watching the chat. Cycle the next person. So this will be very, very, very similar. Public void cycle to next person. So no one's is asking, what's the best way to save data between scenes? I mean, that's a very broad, open topic. I'm gonna end up doing that here in like future streams. I'm just not there yet. But if you mean like scene to scene in Unity, that has a lot to do with like state, right? And so I have another project that I'm working on. The game is on hold right now, but it's called Age of Nomads, and that works a pretty similar way. So what I do in that is there's something you can do in Unity called, when you create an object using monobehavior, called don't destroy on load. And with don't destroy on load, you can basically spin something up at the time that the game starts, and it will persist from scene to scene. So let me actually, I'm going to show you that real quick. Not inside of Unity. I'm going to show you the documentation. But that's a great question. Oh, you're using don't destroy on load already. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean the data should be able to persist in that case, because what you can do is you can store state inside of objects, and it should remain from scene to scene, unless there's something in the scene that maybe destroys it. The other thing, of course, you could do is you could probably persist it to disk somehow, right? Like, you know, you could throw it into a file, or you could use player prefs, which I've spoken with some people, and they hate using player prefs in Unity because it manipulates stuff inside the registry on Windows and stuff like that. But the nice thing about player prefs, whenever you store different things in there, is that it basically will persist cross-platform, and I like that. If you store stuff to disk, the drawback there is you end up having to do it a little bit differently if you have, you know, multiple platforms that you're building out on. So. But that's a great question. Hopefully that helps. I'm not sure if I helped you at all, but hopefully that helps. I'm just going to copy this whole thing. Current business index. So all of this can just be changed to current person and index. People.count. Current person index. There we go. Current person index. Current person. So yeah, Nolwen's in chat is saying, for saving data, I'm using a binary file. Well, so that's fine, I think. You just have to, be able to so if you store it in a file and then the state of your, basically of your logic loses sight of the binary data and you have to bring back in the file when the scene loads, which I don't recommend. Like, if at all possible, you want to carry state across scenes if you can. I mean, there may be like performance reasons you don't want to do that, right? Depending on what you're talking about. But basically, if you lose, if this from scene to scene it loses awareness of the binary file, you just have to have a way to serialize it back in. And with this project I'm doing right here on screen, like you'll definitely see that. Like I'm not going to do a binary file necessarily, but you'll probably see an example of like serializing state or loading in save files and stuff like that. Save files are a big topic all their own because, like you have so many different ways that you can do it, and there's not really necessarily a single best way because it always depends on what project you're doing. I mean, some people, they do it as like they load in like a JSON file of all things. Like you could do it that way. You could store some sort of XML thing. You could do a text file. You could do a CSV. You could there's all these different ways that you could throw a save file in the disk. And if you get really far into a project without really having thought through how you serialize and deserialize state between scenes, it gets really ugly because like that is one of those things you really need to keep in mind as you're building from the beginning, because what you could end up with if you say, I've spent like 6 to 8 months working on this and now I'm going to go back and add in like save games. Man, you could have a huge amount of complexity by that point, and then you'll have to spend a lot of time reworking how certain things work, because generally, like if you serialize in state from a save game, usually the way that serialization happens, or the way that the loading in of the objects to the scene happens, you really have to do that regardless of whether or not there's a save file in a lot of cases. Like that's often just the best way to do it, because if you don't follow the same method for loading like every single time, then you can end up with some really nasty problems where like save games, they load in incorrectly, and then you're stuck having to figure out why. Like there's one tiny little thing out of sync and you have to go and find it. And I'm talking while programming, which is a cardinal sin. And of course I'm getting errors because of that. Okay, so current person index. Current person index. Okay. I don't really see what my problem is. Line 234. Wait, what? Oh, way down here. What? I don't really see what's going wrong here. What? Current person. Oh, it's the variable name. Oh. Oh, yeah, well, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm going to change a little bit of that. Current people to grab. I'll do initial person. Something just a little bit different there. Initial person. There we go. Okay. Yeah, current person I want reserved for this thing I'm doing now with selecting this business and this person. All right, so that should clear the error up. Very good, very good. Okay. Okay, so if I hit O, believe it or not, the numbers I'm spitting out onto the console are people's last names. Big giant numbers. Oh man, this thing is so robotic right now. It's not very emotionally impactful with its game design, is it? Okay, so I'll clear that out. So now I should have kind of everything going. So I have like I can add people. I can add some restaurants, and I could say farm, farm, farm. Now most of everything is a restaurant. Farm, farm, restaurant, 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 farm, 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 restaurant, restaurant, restaurant. Okay, so it looks like 6 businesses, and I have 9 different people, so I should see 9 different numbers going on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I think that's working. 824. Yep, 824. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, wait. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think it's 1 off because of the stupid operator and my inability to count. Probably. Current person index. Yeah, something like that. Okay, I actually am going to open up Visual Studio Code. You can't see it, but I do want to do that just because I'm curious. I would like to debug. Oh, and it has to run an update for .NET Core. Okay. Oh my gosh, we are already almost at the 1 hour mark. I wanted to mention, I'm not planning on streaming for a super long time today, but I'll be back on Sunday morning, of course. So hopefully I'll be wrapping up here pretty soon, because I was planning on keeping this kind of short. I think I'm making some good progress, because what this is going to allow me to do going forward is if I can select the person and the business, I can start matching them up, and I'm basically there with this little really terrible interface, but it's going to be perfect for testing. So just about there. Okay, so I got a couple breakpoints. Do I have my debugging set up? I think so. Yeah. I just want to see what's going on in memory because I have a suspicion that things are not quite right, and I just want to make sure I'm not crazy. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. When I'm clicking in and out of the window, it's cycling the music. Oh, okay. I didn't expect that. Okay, so current business. Oh, wow, yeah, that's interesting. You know what? Let me, I'm going to flip on the display capture because I kind of want to show you the, what's going on in Visual Studio Code. Take out Sublime here. If display capture will work, of course. Maybe it won't. Oh, wait. I've selected the wrong one. There we go. It should show it now. Maybe not. Oh, gosh, it's not working. Let me try this. Come on, Elgato. Where are you at? Okay, well, I give up. I was going to show you, but that's okay. Basically what I'm looking at, though, is I'm looking at, okay, owned businesses. So I'm looking at like a farm with cash of 200, income per turn 5, as I expect. Yeah, I apologize. I'm going to have to figure out what's up with the Elgato card setup on OBS. Current business type, farm 5, current business, okay, current business index, we're on 1. So what is the count of owned businesses? It's 4, okay, so 4, so that means that the index can go up to 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and if it's, yeah, okay. So that should be right. That should be right, actually. So that looks good. That looks good. Okay. Then again, I might look at it later and decide it's broken. Okay. I see some additional people in the chat. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you're enjoying. If you have any other questions or whatever about what's going on here or where I'm going with all this, just let me know. Some previous streams I kind of talked about, you know, the basis of the game, and basically it's a city simulator. The current title is Kalling Kingdom. It's supposed to be fantasy based, but you can't really tell it's fantasy based right now. You really just know that there's a bunch of numbers flying around and there's people and businesses, and you know it's not very clear that it's a nice fantasy-based city simulator yet, but we're gonna get there. So, okay, owned businesses. Cycle the next business. So one of the things I saw is that the owned business that I add does not have any people, and I like that because it means that there's no owner. But so I need to change this logic so that if there's not someone available to be assigned as the business owner, then it shouldn't allow the adding of the business. And I'm not sure how important that is right this second, but I know it's definitely going to be important. I think I'm going to circle back to that. Cycle the next business. Owned businesses. Cycle the next person. Okay, so now I need a way to match up a person to a business. So that's what I'm going to do. Create business. And I'm going to have to go in and organize all these cajillions of functions I have going on. I just have functions everywhere in this class, and I need a nice way to organize all this, but I'll do that later. Okay, so I'm going to say this is probably void match person to business, match person to business. And there will be a person, and there will be a business. Because naturally. Okay, so if the person dot business is null, and actually I'm going to do that first. If the person business is null, then the business, no, the person dot business will be the business. Because naturally. Okay, and then so if the business owner is null, then the business owner can be the person. It's kind of circular, but not quite. Not quite. I think it works. So that's very basic. And so if I go into my print statements, what I'm going to do is say last name plus, and then on a new line, I'm going to add current person dot business. And I need to say business dot type actually, because otherwise it's not going to print out a nice string for me. So, and then up here, current business dot type plus new line, and I'm going to say current business dot owner, owner dot last name. And so we're basically cross-referencing the person and the business attributes so that we can get a clear idea of who owns what, who's matching with what. Match person to business. And so I'm going to add another terrible hotkey so we can test input get key up, key code dot im. And I'll say this is match person to business, and this will be the current person with the current business. And sometimes that'll work, and other times it won't. And that makes a lot of sense. And I'm going to put some other information to print out as well, so that it'll be something like I'm going to add some brackets in here. So if actually, yeah, I will just say print business owner person dot last name without the capital L. There we go. Add some brackets over here, and print business dot type. If this gets too crazy, I'm gonna have to give like an identifier to a business, but I'm hoping it's not going to be crazy for very long, so keep it there. Any errors? No? Come on, compiler. There we go. Play. Okay. Uh-oh. Got a ugly error, ugly null reference error. Yikes. Okay, well, I'm going to resolve this, but before I do, I'm going to go ahead and take a short 5-minute break, and then we're going to hopefully hit it for just another few minutes, hopefully get this little match function working, and then I might call it from there. But Be back in about 5 minutes. I will see you guys shortly. And in the meantime, I gotta advertise. I have to. Okay. I am back and ready to go with a root beer. Sugar-free, of course, because, you know, when you're sitting for hours in coding, you really don't need any calories. Okay. Business owner person, blah, blah, blah. So it looked like there was a problem in here with cycling through the businesses, and so I'm trying to figure that out right now. I know I missed something. Okay, so something is not getting initialized. Current business index, owned businesses. I mean, this should be working fine. I just had it working. I don't understand what happened. Current business index. Should be fine. It's not fine, but it should be fine. Own businesses, current business index. I don't get it. Something might be happening to the variable. I'm gonna debug and figure it out. Something might be manipulating the index or something. So I'll go from here. Current business null. Okay. Oops. It would help if you start the debugging. That helps. If you want to debug, you have to run the debugger. Okay. I'll hit play in the editor. Let's see where it halts. It's going to be very early in the initialization. There we are. So current business is selected, and current business index is at 0. Okay. What the heck is going wrong? So if I'll step through a little bit. Current person is now selected as well. That's good. But it's only when I hit cycle the next business. I'm going to put a breakpoint in there as well. Take out some breakpoints down here. Would be nice if you could see this, but I know you can't. Okay. So then current business index gets advanced to 1. Current business index 0. Oh, and by the way, let me just show you what I'm looking at for the debugging. It's over here in the cycle function. Cycle the next business. Yeah. So yeah, if the business index is equal to the count, and it's not yet, step through. This music is just so epic, I'm telling you. Okay. Owned businesses 0, 1, 2. Da, da, da. The business has a type. Oh, but it doesn't have an owner. Ha 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 ha. It doesn't have an owner yet. Okay. Very good. Very good. So I can fix that very easily. We'll just do that. That's it. Good old null handling. Okay. Stop Unity, restart. Can we clear without errors? Yep. Hit play. Okay. Next. Next turn. Business. Cycle business. Oh, but the owner is null. Okay. Cycle person. Oh, I accidentally added a person. Okay. Cycle, cycle, cycle. There's all the people coming in. Looking good. So, oh, I don't have. So farm, 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 farm. But I have a fourth person, and the fourth person shouldn't be a part of anything, really. Now I have a fifth person. Okay, what's going on? It's like when I add people, they receive a business, and I thought I removed that, but maybe I didn't. So once I answered some of those questions earlier about the save game, they ran away from the stream because they had to go work on their game to fix to fix the save state. It's okay. I totally understand. Okay. Initialize available person. Initialize. Add. It's add person, right? Add person to city. I bet they get a business, don't they? No, they're not getting a business. They're not getting a business. if current person business is not null, print this. So it's very similar. I bet none of the businesses have owners, do they? I bet they don't. Yeah, they sure don't. Owned businesses add. Okay, so then this should be the new person. Yep. You gotta start them off with an owner there in the beginning. Let me save too. There we go. So it's just 3 farms now. 3, yep. So if I add a person and cycle through the person, it should say, oh, that's not gonna work. Let's try match. Oh, did that work? Business, 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 business. Nope. Nope, something is going wrong. Still, okay. So let me go into these match functions and see what's going on here. Okay. So I have a person, and I have a business. That has an owner already, so that doesn't work. Okay. Okay, I can stop debugging. That's fine. So let me add the restaurant. Restaurant. Business, business, business. Ah, so now we're on the restaurant, actually, it looks like. So what if I match? Business owner, okay. Business, business, business. Restaurant. Uh-oh. Okay. Now I'm getting somewhere because the farm is owned by the same person that also owns the restaurant. But I don't want that. I only want... Well, I know that's how it works in the real world. You could have one person who owns all kinds of stuff, but I don't know if I want that in the game. But okay, so that's good progress. I think I'll call it there. I'll cut it there. Looking good though. So now I have the ability to cycle through businesses, create a new restaurant, create new people, and there's still some missing pieces, some things that are not quite fitting together, but I'm going to try and polish that up throughout today and tomorrow, and then I will be back Sunday morning for another live stream, and hopefully by then I'll have a nice matchup of the person and the business, and we'll start seeing things kind of come together. And from there, that means that once I'm able to have multiple people under individual businesses and I have the owners set up and all that working nicely, then I can start maybe playing with modifiers. And so one of the next big things on the modifier aspect is going to be, where is it? There it is. So these modifiers is, I want like the curve of the market to affect these things, and I want to influence the income of the businesses, and I also want different things to influence expenses, and we will get there. It's all gonna end up coming together a little bit later, one step at a time. But thanks so much for watching, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Do not forget that earlier, I don't know if you saw it, but during the break, there was a little discount code for the t-shirts that are available. And I'm just going to throw it on the screen in case you missed it here to close things out. But it's 15% off the merchandise in the Teespring store, which you can get to a number of different ways. Here on the Elega Corp website, there is this banner that is rotating here, and if you'd like to pick up a shirt, you can do it that way. You can also go to Products, Teespring, and that will take you to the storefront, and then you use the code CALLKING at checkout, KALLKING, if you would like to support this development. It's going fantastic, though, and I'm really enjoying it. Other than that, I will see you Sunday morning at, let's check the schedule. Sunday is the 21st, so I will see you at 10:30 a.m. Central, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.